This collector's edition is all from actual original footage, filmed on location. It has been transferred exactly as recorded. Occasionally, you may notice some imperfections. This is not the fault of your video player or your tapes. To protect their value as collector's items, we have not made any electronic improvements to the original footage.
Hi, it's me. Are you ready? You sure? You're ready for anything? Perfect. Pay attention now. Here we go.
Fellow citizens, listen. We've had 50 years of diverse rock and roll art. From all sides. Now we live in an artificial era where old folks are burned out and young folks don't yet know better. Fact. The only remedy for mediocrity and closed minds is variety. Take an extra strength. Oh, come on. Look, if you don't appreciate multiple facets of life and music, you should avoid this viewpoint. But our Stevie Moore remains the best all-round example of pro and con, pro and amateur, pro and pre. It's the new thing, to gladly embrace the entire spectrum of musical art, smart and dumb, and to preach the gospel of stylistic variety. Everything has its place, in small doses for short attention spans, like yours.
And we get together and record it at home, you know.
Well, listen, I'm not saying this to make you feel good or because you're my relation or whatever, but you know, I've always felt this right from the beginning, and it was only confirmed when I started to get into that tape the other day. As sick as I was, man, I just have a feeling, and I really think it is an unbiased thing. It has nothing to do with you being related or anything
right.
else. That there's really genius there, you know?
Yeah.
And I mean that, man. And I want you to know that.
Great. Okay, great. I do. I really do.
Feel that.
I really do, Harry, you know.
Okay, well.
It's a heavy thing coming from Nashville, too, you know, because it's a little tiny nucleus here, and the rest of the town is not part of us at all, really.
I am your first commonplace Southern original composer. I can feel 16 or 36, incidentally. I want to befriend all of my rock heroes. I shall make some good records. See, I can't see it. I shall make some great records if you encourage me enough. I believe I'm making you an offer here. I come to your town in peaceful artistic form with great expectations. I must work to fit in, I'm sure.
Now, you don't have like a Brooklyn accent or a Queens accent. I don't believe so.
No, I'm from Nashville, Tennessee.
Nashville. Now, oh, Nashville! One of our most populous states.
What?
Yeah.
Right. The big shoe manufacturer.
Really?
In Nashville.
So, for people who are not familiar with R. Stevie Moore, where should we start?
Capsule. Born and raised 1952. Guitar mic on? Just checking.
Yeah. Yeah, oh yeah.
Nice.
Most definitely on.
Showbud, Gibson, Fender-esque kind of thing. Grew up in the Nashville area. My father was a musician, a very highly praised musician. Bassist Bob Moore, legendary country upright fiddle player who was on many Nashville hits in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. I'm so sick of telling this story, especially to people that have never heard it. Wait, what does that mean? I was a rock and roll child, 60s flower hippie, and listened to Beatles, Beach Boys, Zappa, you know the list, and did my own music while my father was trying to get me to follow in his footsteps, doing honky-tonk, boom, 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 and on and on and on. So I went into my own ears at home and became suddenly the father of home recording way back in 72 using reel-to-reel tape decks. And what else do you want to know?
Now, you specialize in home recording, which means, I got my mic. Tell us what that means. You record in the privacy of your own home. Is that correct?
That's right.
Now, how do you do that? Give us a little history of. I mean, did you start out doing that as a joke, thinking that was funny?
Oh, no. It's easy.
High art
it's
form?
Very high art form. Well, besides all of that, it's I'm not prepared to answer that question.
Yeah. No?
No, sure I am.
Our Stevie Moore, prolific composer and prolific recorder of his compositions. Some call him the godfather of home taping, back when taping was the way to do it.
I've never been a big gearhead or never been a technical virtuoso.
You've had to become your own engineer, right?
That's true, right.
But you always sort of did.
It was all lo-fi gear, though. I mean, like I said, I wasn't running out and, upgrading constantly, even as a kid with guitars.
Yeah.
It was always real, homemade, expressly homemade. And I didn't realize that I was really creating something that was going to be important and
going to be almost a genre in itself.
Yeah, and now it's almost a common thing that everybody has their laptops.
Yeah.
Today make their own CDs and sell them on the internet. Let's wish the guy who, back even before CDs were invented, pretty much invented that whole idea of making an entire album in your own studio and then just selling it by a little mailing list to the true believers in what good pop music writing is all about, even if the major labels don't have a single idea in their head about what it really should be.
Dear Stevie, I have absolutely no idea how or if you're ever going to read this, but I figured I'd take a shot. I mean, after all the great music you've given all your fans, I think I owe it to you to tell you how much we do really appreciate your stuff. It's always just a little different, but at the same time, you can always tell it's you. You're the greatest.
What is it? You got Fabio singing, you got Jerry Lewis singing, no William Shatner singing?
I got R. Stevie Moore, who hopefully in the future you'll do a program on this, because this guy is the true genius. He is the DIY champion of America.
And I consider him, this is just me speaking personally, the father of DIY indie rock.
That's what you consider him?
Yes, what is DIY?
What a coincidence.
What does that mean?
Nobody tell Andy what DIY means.
I have no clue what DIY means.
Do it your own self.
Our Stevie Moore has been making music since the 1970s, pretty much non-stop, because the music flows non-stop from Stevie's brain.
Everything I've recorded is available, and I have 109 releases.
109? I think that's up 6 since last time I spoke to you.
Right,
That was
well-
just about 15 minutes ago.
I was trying to think of something to ask you that might not be covered by anybody else. There's a song called Dates by R. Stevie Moore.
Oh, yeah.
That you provided basically the instrumental tracking and backing vocals on.
Well, Stevie is a great, I mean, you should really, we should big up Stevie here on this show because he's worthy of attention, is Steve. And again, he's a guy completely outside the normal, music industry. He's the man who records all his records at home on a tape recorder. What comes out of that tape recorder, you never know what's going to come out of it. It might be, something that you could play on the radio, or it might be something the sound of, an engineer's test signal or something badly recorded with static and God knows what. You just never know what Stevie's going to bring you next.
And
It is.
It is good. I'm always recording. I have a diary of sound. You see, aren't you glad we're rolling tape? It doesn't matter. It captures stuff. And that's been part of my whole thing for years. That's what I want to do.
Lullabies to you. Can you teach me how? All I do is talk a melody, but it don't come out as a rhapsody.
The tapes are so easy to make. That's what's getting so strange about it. It's too easy for me to write songs and make silly tapes, and just experiment with different sounds, different stuff.
You're getting so good at it, see, you don't have technical problems.
Yeah.
I mean, you're able to broaden your sound and all your variations. I mean, your tapes are filled.
You know about our Stevie Moore? This is his cat. He's been making records, homemade records in his pad since late 60s. He's made over 400 records. Wow. All homespun. In 60s.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Steve, how many songs have you written and recorded?
47,921.
That can't be.
And a half.
I think it's 400 albums, right?
That's right. Sorry,
Wait,
multiply.
that can't be true.
It really is. I mean, anything that can be a song, and is.
Wish I had a cigarette. I sure could use a smoke. But I'm stuck alone, the car is dead, and I'm already broke.
Do you really write? Are you really that prolific? How many songs have you written in the last week?
2.
So 2 a week, you're average.
Now, yeah. called
It's still over 100
Senility. Senility.
Okay. But at your peak, how many were you writing?
30.
30 a week.
30 a week. And recording them.
And do they all have distinct and singular melody?
Everyone is so different. Stylistically.
Andy, you would actually consider them songs. They have melodies and rhythms and everything.
They call me a craftsman. And of course, that's part of my music too, as far as the variety. I can't stress that enough, to where it's one thing to be lo-fi or DIY and all that, but there's nothing better than, to me, and that's just how I've always felt, listening to music, radio, whatever, a variety. There's nothing worse than getting stuck in ruts. And all of my music is always like a mixtape, a radio show.
I was so heavily into the Beatles. Even Zappa was a major influence as far as just to, do what you're not supposed to do and go over the edge, and that's part of my music. I love dealing with all the different genres, and I love symphonic music. I love Frank Sinatra music, but I also love Killing Joke and Public Image, and and I love being able to do that, and yet also do, I don't know, you name it. As I said, I love the folk, Simon and Garfunkel kind of stuff. I love abrasive noise. I love humor and beat poetry. There's a lot of spoken bits on all of my tapes. Just a stream of consciousness kind of thing. And then to follow a stream of consciousness thing with something that's very planned out and intricate. But that's what I mean as far as my music, avant-garde, yet it's totally commercial pop, So there's a weird combination of the two.
That's exactly what it is.
The main thing about our Stevie Moore music is probably that it's bad and good at the same time. It utilizes both of these extremities. You'll know when you hear it. Perhaps the most important thing is the composition. The things that go on within the musical structure.
I heard this song Dates. The original version was, well, it'd be kind to call it cacophonous, but you could hear what was great about it, where he was going. There was something there, and it had a lot of really interesting little parts and some great chord changes, fantastic chord changes and inversions and stuff. And so, but really what it was just it's a great little piece of music, really good melody, some great changes, some fantastic changes. And it's funny, which is rare, it's rare that a rock track actually can make you laugh.
There's something about the tapes that it's the fact that they aren't perfect.
Yeah.
Because everything you hear on the radio is perfect.
Exactly.
Every album you buy is perfect. I mean, the drum machines are just spot on. Nobody's out of tune because they kind of, if they sing out of tune, they fix it. That's the tapes are. They were done by a human being.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And that's an increasingly rare commodity.
Yeah.
How much music can we take
In terms of running time, how much longer until even you are exploited into a star? Showbiz is dead. Movies, how many films have you seen? How many do you think I've seen? About 3. Aren't we all, after all, better actors than even Marlon Brando? Showbiz is obsolete. Look at me, I'm singing a song that don't sound like any other. Look at Lee, I'm telling you to look at Lee instead of them. How much reading does it take? How many pages are necessary?
In the early 80s, that had a lot to do with me really coming out of my shell and forming my little cassette club, because that's when punk and everything was happening and everybody was putting out their own little singles. And though I didn't venture too deeply into the vinyl part of it, cassettes were just starting to take off, and Walkmans and things like that. So I was one of the first to really advertise, cassettes. Cheap, buy 2, get 1 free. And I was just sending out tapes constantly all over the country. Anyone that was interested in so-called joining my cassette club could get anything and everything I ever recorded. And I was also sort of mockingly putting myself in a place of not being a recording artist any longer, but being a record company mogul who had this amazing back catalog of work. And so I've channeled all my energies into just trying to continually keep the mail order going. That's been the main thing for me. And it's all hand done. I have, even though, I have, some nice covers, which are Xeroxed and nicely designed. Still, the whole thing is hand done, and they get a letter from me and whatever. Very personal kind of thing.
It's funny because my cassette club is spanning the globe. I'm constantly getting overseas mail and all different kinds of things from all over the world about all different kinds of things. Some people want just to satisfy their curiosity, and some people buy 1 tape maybe, and that's about it. And some people send hundreds and hundreds of dollars and build a huge stack of R. Stevie Moore cassettes. And I keep wondering, God, what must that look like? They got these little apartments, and they work day jobs and stuff, and they're crazy about this one weird guy who makes tapes.
Hello? Henry? Yes, Stevie. I was wondering if you could put the operator on the line. I need to speak to her. It's pretty crucial.
Not only did I start the recording early on, but I also did the self-marketing, self-releasing kind of thing early on.
Which it must have been very, very hard to get any attention, any distribution, any awareness.
That's right.
Yeah.
It was all just, post office, sending out catalogs and stuff, word of mouth.
Yes, we need distribution. If you could put her on the line. I know that, but she has... Yes, I'm aware of that. But Henry, I need distribution. Without that, there's nothing.
Called the father of the home taping underground and all that, which is kind of ironic. I get used as a reference point all the time and whatever. But But it's kind of ironic because still nobody's heard of me, and that's always part of the byline that's been constantly repeated, the criminal neglect and all that. What do you mean you've never heard of R.C.V. Moore? Well, you're not alone. No one's heard of R.C.V. But nobody knows why, you know.
And I've had tons of press through the decades, you know, but never anything. I mean, there's a whole story about that. One of my earliest supporters and backers was a young guy named Kurt Loder, MTV news guy. Kurt Loder, the legendary, long before MTV, 78.
Really?
He was writing for Circus Magazine. And I went into the city and met him in a little bar, and he had a buddy with him, a guy named David Frick, legendary senior editor for Rolling Stone, David Frick. And they're both like huge celebrity guys.
Oh, that's even.
And I've always, they were great supporters of me in the early days before they made it. And then after they made it, I was always so pissed off that, God, I need these guys more than ever. You know?
Right.
Imagine just a couple of name drops, how much that would help me.
Right.
But I could never even hardly get to Kurt Loder. He was interviewing Madonna and
You
Def
tried to
Leppard.
reach out?
Yeah, I'm always doing that. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not a phone guy, but I'm always sending packages out and stuff.
I can't believe kids are still listening to Duran Duran. I can't believe kids are still listening to Frankie Goes to Hollywood. I can't believe kids are still listening to Whitney Houston. I can't believe kids are still listening to Sting. I can't believe kids are still listening to Mike and the Mechanics. Here's their new single.
Have you made money at it at all? I mean, has there been a little nest egg you've managed to accumulate, or has it just been...
Not much. I still have a day job, working in a record store, and making ends meet. And
Do you think you would like it? I mean, what I guess, first of all, let's pinpoint, what is your career goal? What would you like to see happen?
well, just what I said, just more exposure. I don't know what the end result is as far as the word fame. I don't know what that means. It wouldn't be nice to, have a little bit more secure financial thing going where we'd have to do a day job. Maybe that would be the first goal. But I mean, it's just a step-by-step process.
I live day to day. Thankfully have friends that support me. And the years flying by, and I'm going to be 60 years old, and yet I still feel like a teenager. I'm still doing the teenager thing, so go figure.
Days rushing by, moving at the speed of light, like a dream, like a vapor. Winter days, summer nights, whirling past much too soon. Setting suns, rising moons, seasons come, say hello. Say goodbye, people go. Say goodbye, people go. Say goodbye, people
perfect case of you're gonna miss me when I'm gone.
What's that supposed to mean?
A very good evening to you.
Same to you. How are you, Fred?
Okay.
We have so much to talk about, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose so. Are you familiar with my work at all?
I'm familiar with some of it. I'm familiar with some things I really like, especially a single I had. Or an EP.
Yeah.
An EP with Goodbye Piano.
Right. Right.
And the internet has been very important. And most importantly, actually, that I forgot to mention is that I have my own website. And it's www.thenamersteviemore.com. You got to check it. You'll find out all you need to know. Lots of pictures and free offers.
Really?
And updated news.
Welcome, everybody, to the official R. Stevie Moore homepage website. Be sure to check out the news and daily diary links. And don't forget to visit my premier MP3 lounge. You'll be ecstatic when you peruse the RSM autographies and press kit archives. And you like pictures? We got 1 million of them. Have fun, son. I am the one for you.
He's new wave, he's classic rock, he's acousmatic, he's tape music, he's experimental, he's swing, he's psychobilly, he's big beat, he's melodramatic, he's popular song, he's southern rock, and he's power pop. Stevie's a wonder who represents the history of music to me, as well as the wonders of what an independent can do. It's time for our Stevie Moore.
Which brings us to this next song, one that inadequately describes local canine consideration as witnessed by us all. 1, 2, 3, and 4.
When I said I was mad,
Yes, L's and G's, at last we have found a metaphorical reference with which our great country may be synthesized.
Where do we go from here? 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 Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Elvis Costello is coming over. With him he will bring Yvette Mimeo and expect the rest. I'm your latest guest. We will have a party and will last all day. President Carter will only drop by. Yes, but don't forget Charles Ness and Riley. I have passed the test. I'm your latest guest. I will have a meeting and I'll speak all day. We will have a picnic and we'll eat all day. We will have an orgy and we'll eat all day. We will have a comic and we'll laugh all day. We will have a bottle and we'll drink all day. We will have a checkbook and we'll buy all day. We will have a combo and we'll dance all day. We will have exhaustion and we'll sleep all day tomorrow.
Your Honor, I beg to differ. The story is not that way at all. Nothing transpired the way that he just told you. I would like to appeal this decision, and we'll get back in this room, say, November. Your Honor, I would like to appeal this decision. I object. I didn't say any of those things, even though he has tapes of me doing so.